So you should never define yourself, and here's why. When we define ourselves by saying, oh, I am this type of person that likes this type of things, that doesn't like this type of things, that does this type of things, that doesn't do this type of things, we may think that it is a form of self expression where we all wanna be unique. We all wanna be different. We all wanna be like identifiable by certain characteristics. But the thing about identifying ourselves with certain characteristics, or by attaching our sense of identity to things that we do, things that we say, things that we feel, is that we are limiting ourselves. We are not allowing ourselves to embrace and fully accept the whole human expression. Instead, we are just clinging to a certain aspect of the human expression. So let's say um, you are someone who enjoys exercising or enjoys playing certain types of sports, and when you introduce yourself to others, when you are told to like describe yourself, what kind of person you are, that's what you say, oh, I am someone who really likes to play pickleball. I play at least 3 times a week. I have all my friends, I have a lot of friends that play pickleball too, and so and so. And it's okay to say this type of things. It's okay to describe yourself as this type of things. But when you identify when you identify yourself really seriously or really absolutely with the fact that you enjoy pickleball and whatever anything related to that, when something unexpected happened, when you no longer when you change, or when things out of your out of your control causes you to change, in a sense that you may, for example, get into an accident, or you may have an experience where you end up don't really liking playing pickleball that much any longer, and suddenly that's not part of your identity anymore. That's just things have changed. And when you have just really have that as a very fundamental part of your identity, when you lose it, when it changes, when it is taken away from you, then you suddenly feel like you're lost. You feel like the rug has been pulled out from under your feet, and you no longer know who you are. You are falling into depression, falling into feelings of confusion, or anything related to, identity crisis, loss of identity. And that is what happens when you have identified yourself strongly with a certain characteristic that fundamentally isn't stable, have the possibility of changing, have the possibility of not being permanent to you or relevant to you any longer. And so when we do this, when we identify or define ourselves in a certain way, and we cling very strongly to that identification, then we are actually creating a lot of trouble for ourselves. It's predicted that you're gonna feel very out of sorts when what you've identified with is not true or not real or not relevant for you anymore. And so, in that case, identification with a certain characteristics, be it um, personality wise, be it your likes or dislikes, be it could also be your gender, because people change gender these days, and it's only possible. Like all these things, they have the possibility of changing. And so when your sort of feeling of security, safety, and acceptance of yourself is built on a very shaky ground, is built on all these ideas, beliefs that you have of yourself, then when all these things change, when they pass, when they are taken away from you, or when you've done something that doesn't live up to the identity that you've created for yourself, it just creates a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, a lot of suffering in your mind and in your body. And so defining ourselves is no longer a form of self love or a self expression. It is now a form of self limitation or self imprisonment, where you have boxed yourself, where you have limited who you are to this certain set of characteristics that might change, that might might change as you go through life, as you have different experiences, and it's gonna create a lot of suffering for you if you were to keep clinging onto these ideas or definitions that you have of yourself. But if you were to hold all these definitions of yourself, hold all these things that you've identified yourself with very lightly, very non seriously, where you know that they're gonna change, that they might or might not change, they might or might not. Usually they would change, okay? Then when who you are isn't based on all these things. When who you are is based on something deeper, based on the you that is able that encompasses all of these characteristics, that encompasses both you liking pickleball and not liking pickleball, based on you being both generous and being stingy, based on you being oh, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Okay, based on you liking coriander, not liking coriander. This is just all examples of what you've identified yourself with. When you allow and accept yourself to be everything or to be nothing, then you are freeing yourself. You are giving yourself the room, the space to express all sides, all sorts of characteristics of being human. You don't limit yourself to a certain form of human expression. You accept them all, you embrace them all, and you love and accept yourself through it all. And when you are able to love and accept yourself through all these different forms of human expressions, then you'll be happy. You'll be unconditionally at peace, unconditionally happy, unconditionally compassionate towards both yourself and towards everybody, because you understand that they all have space to be. All the different characteristics of being human, all the different definitions, if you want to call it, of being human. And so, happiness is synonymous with freedom. And when you no longer define yourself in a certain way, no matter what it may be, I don't know, your name, it can change, your gender, you can change it, what you like or dislike can change, people you surround yourself, they can change all the time. And when you no longer define your sense of self based on all these things that would change, then you're free. You're free to be whoever you want to be. You're free to be however you like to be. You're free to be happy. You're free to no longer live up to pressures or expectations of how you should be like or how other people should be like. You no longer have to control how you are or who you should be. Because when you were to identify yourself with like maybe certain characteristics like I should be skinny, I should be like 47 kilograms for the rest of my life, and because of that very strong identification or the very strong desire to be this type of person, you have to control what you eat. You have to restrict your diet and control how much you exercise. And it's just all so unnecessary. It just creates a lot of suffering for yourself and for your body. And you wouldn't be happy. I know you wouldn't be happy. And so when you no longer define yourself or feel the need to define yourself, then you are okay to be however you like. I mean, it's still okay to have certain goals. Like, I want to be healthy, I will exercise and eat, but that doesn't mean that you can't love and accept who you are right now. Someone that's imperfect, someone that have moments that makes mistakes, someone that may not be entirely very healthy, but you're trying. And so you can have goals to be a certain type of person, but I think the most important goal is to just love who you are right now, no matter how you are, no matter what you look like, no matter how you're like. And when you're able to do that, you'll just be happy. You'll just be free. And I want that for you. And so if you're going through like a period of time when you're just unsure of who you are, you're having like identity crisis, you are lost, like, oh, I think I used to be someone who has this job, but now that I am retrenched or now that I am fired, I no longer know who I am. But why did you feel that that job is part of who you are, is fundamental to your identity because it was never part of your identity to begin with. Like when we are born, like the moment we came out of our mom's womb, we are like a blank slate of paper. Nobody has told us who we are or who we should be, and all these things that, all these characteristics or definitions of ourselves that we have now as adults was collected. It was accumulated from other people, from experiences, from what other people say of us, of how we are thought we should be, and all these things. And they're not fundamental to who you are. They're not. They are shackles to who you can be, which is everything of the human expression. You don't have to be the good girl. You can be a rebellious girl. You don't have to think that you have to be a doctor or any whatever job you have for the rest of your life. You can change your job when you allow yourself that sort of freedom to no longer identify yourself with all these things that is not original to you from the very beginning. Then you're free. You're like a blank slate of paper again, and freedom is happiness. I don't know what else to say. I've actually tried to film this a few times, and I don't know. I'm just not really satisfied with how all the previous one turned out, and so this is my last attempt. I should just edit it and put it out, because I think this can be very helpful to people who are like having identity crisis, or they just want to figure out who they are. I think you're very lucky if you're having an identity crisis because it means that you're standing at the very precipice of limitation or imprisonment, or um, just full of suffering where you feel like you have to be a certain person, certain way, to being able to step over the precipice and acknowledging and knowing that you can be anyone, anything. You have the freedom to be anyone, anything, however you like. You are the one that gets to decide. You are the one that gets to, you get to love yourself unconditionally and be free unconditionally. Once you step over the precipice of no longer defining yourself as whatever, whatever characteristics, I don't know. And so, yeah, throw yourself over it, and maybe you might like what you find over the precipice or into the unknown. And tell me what that experience is like. Tell me if you like it, if you like the feeling of falling. It can be scary, that falling at first, because you are so used to looking at yourself, defining yourself to yourself and others in a certain way. And when you no longer do that, it's like it can be scary. But it can also be very exhilarating, very freeing, very the most joyful experience you might ever have. And so I don't know. Tell me what you think. Tell me if what I said make you feel a little bit more introspective, or if it make made you wanna take that step. And so yep, I think that's all. Let's see. It's a little bit bright, right? Oh, and I'm not saying that when people ask you, oh, who you are, what your job is, or what you like or dislike, you tell them, oh, I think I don't want to define myself. I want to be free, so I am not gonna say who I am or what I'm doing or what I like or don't like. It's more like you can say all these things. You can say, like, let's say you're eating stuff, you're eating a dinner with a friend, and they ask you, oh, do you want to put coriander in your dish? You don't just go and say, I don't think, I don't know, I'm okay with either. I'm accepting of myself whether I like coriander or I don't like coriander. I mean, that is true, but just in that moment, do you like coriander or not like coriander? You can just say it. You don't have to attach yourself to the identity of not choosing, of encompassing everything. It's okay to also choose. That is also encompassing the part of you that chooses. The thing is, you don't hold on to all these characteristics and into your definitions of yourself very seriously, very tightly, to the point that it will bring you suffering when they change, when they are no longer the same. And so have fun with it. Have fun with life. Have fun with who you are. And that's it. That's all I want to say. You can write whatever you want in the description box below, and I'll read it and reply if I want to. So that's it. Bye.